MMA Boxing Talk here. I just wanted to make a one last video on Joshua versus Klitschko. It's been now a couple days since the fight took place. It was a fight to remember. It was a fight for the history books. It's been a very long time since the heavyweight division has seen a fight with that kind of excitement from the elite top of the division. You know, you could have a couple journeymen, heavyweight journeymen going at it. Probably been, maybe a little more action. But on that scale, with that on the line, Klitschko, Joshua, I mean, we haven't seen anything like that in years, way more than 10, 15 years. Joshua right now, he's getting a lot of heat from it's, to be honest with you, it's just pure hate from Deontay Wilder fans, Al Heyman supporters, PBC supporters, Flomos, Wardtards. That whole community on YouTube right now is shitting on Anthony Joshua, saying that Klitschko was a 41-year-old washed up has-been, not giving Anthony Joshua his just due. And Anthony Joshua definitely deserves his just due for that performance. I mean, the rest of the fucking boxing world and the MMA world even is totally on a high from this fight. You wouldn't believe the MMA outlets talking about Joshua versus Klitschko this week. It's crazy. It's nice to see. But let's be honest here. The Wladimir Klitschko that we saw was the best Klitschko we've seen in years. And the Klitschko that fought Anthony Joshua is not the same Klitschko that showed up for the Tyson Fury fight. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Tyson Fury. He totally outboxed Klitschko and soundly beat him in a unanimous decision. I mean, it was a very boring fight, but he won fair and square. Tyson Fury won. But the Klitschko that Anthony Joshua faced was motivated, was obsessed, was the challenger for the first time in a decade. I truly believe that Klitschko we saw this past Saturday would have beat anyone in the heavyweight division. Anyone. Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. I mean, Tyson Fury's not even in the conversation right now. He almost weighs 400 pounds. Joseph Parker. There's no way Joseph Parker would have beat Klitschko on Saturday night. Klitschko was prepared. He was ready. His footwork looked great. His jab looked great. I mean, let's be honest here. Going into that 10th round, going into that 11th round when Joshua finished the show, that was a very close fight. I mean, a lot of people had, Klitschko up by 1 or 2 rounds. Some people had Joshua up by 1 or 2 rounds. Some people had it dead even going into that 11th round. And it's really tough to argue anyone's scorecard in this fight. I found a lot of the rounds were tough to score. A lot of people have different opinions and views on how they, it's a very, judging fights, judging rounds is very subjective. A lot of people have their opinion. It's what you like. It's what you look for. But this was a tough fight to predict it, in particularly. Personally, I gave Joshua the first 3 rounds. The second round I thought was really close. The 4th round I gave to Klitschko. Of course, the 5th round I gave to Joshua. I gave the 6th round to Klitschko as well. The 5th and the 6th round, they each got a knockdown. I gave them both 10-8 rounds for 5 and 6. I gave the 7th, 8th, 9th round to Klitschko. I mean, Joshua was recovering at that point. I thought the 9th round was pretty close as well. I gave the 10th to Joshua. So going into that 11th round, I had Klitschko up by 1 round. Sorry, I had it tied going into the final round. I had Klitschko with 5 rounds and Joshua with 5 rounds. Um, and like I said, I have. It's tough to argue because so many of those rounds, like the second round, the fourth round, the ninth round, I thought the 10th round was close as well. So it was a tough round to score. But regardless, going into that 11th round, there was a lot of unknowns. Who was going to win? Who was up on the scorecards? But Anthony Joshua took it in his own hands and he finished the show. Spectacular. I mean, unbelievable. And the people that are shitting on Anthony Joshua, the Deontay Wilder fans, the PBC fans, the Al Heyman supporters, all these people, they're not giving Anthony Joshua his credit. I mean, let's be honest here. Anthony Joshua's resume shits all over Deontay Wilder's resume. I mean, the best fight, Deontay Wilder has one good win on his resume. And I mean, it's not even it's not even one of the elite fighters at the heavyweight division. And that's against Bermane Stiverne. And Wilder, his toughest fight, his best win on paper, Wilder didn't get the stoppage. He went all 12 rounds, won a unanimous decision. That's all right. I mean, he won the fight clearly, but he couldn't get his opponent out of there. The only opponent that he was really moving up in competition against Bermane Stiverne, who's 6'2", Wilder towers over him. I mean, in the fight we just saw, Wilder doesn't have a Wladimir Klitschko on his record, period. He doesn't even have a Dominic Breazeale. Let's look at the way he struggled, big time struggled with Eric Molina. He got him out of there eventually, but he struggled with him in the beginning of that fight. Anthony Joshua looked flawless against Molina, got him out of there in 3 rounds. But Joshua has an all-time great, a first ballot Hall of Famer on his resume already. So his resume shits all over Deontay Wilder's. Deontay Wilder, just fought Gerald Washington, looked like absolute dog shit in that fight. I had him losing every single round up until the round, Wilder caught him with that. He caught him, and Wilder has that power. You got to give Wilder that respect. I mean, he's not a fundamentally sound boxer. Personally, his skills aren't very good whatsoever, but he's got that right hand. He can get anyone out of there at any time. But I mean, who knows what happens if Wilder fights the Klitschko we saw on Saturday night. I mean, I put my money on Klitschko. So this notion of Joshua being an old man, a has-been, is absolutely ridiculous. This is the best Klitschko we've seen in years. Klitschko came in lighter than he has, I think, in 7 years. He was 240 pounds. Joshua, he shouldn't have came in at 250. He had never came in that heavy before. He should have came in shape, trimmed down. I think he can definitely trim down 10 pounds. At least 6 or 7 anyway. He'll be quicker. He'll have a little more stamina. But he's got to work on his cardio. And I think he has to work on his head movement as well. But, I mean, great performance by Anthony Joshua. To be in trouble against Klitschko in the middle rounds and to have nothing left in the gas tank. To have that composure to conserve your energy and, take a couple rounds off. It really, really showed his, it really showed Anthony Joshua is for real and that he was learning on the job. As Jay Cotto said it, he said it best. Shout out to his channel. Definitely go check out Jay Cotto's YouTube channel. But he said it best. Anthony Joshua got baptized under fire on Saturday night. And, a lot of fighters aren't willing to do that. They aren't willing to risk it. They're not willing to go in there with a fighter that they're not sure if they're going to beat. It's not guaranteed. I mean, no fight's guaranteed, but a lot are obvious who's coming out, the victor. But this fight could have went either way. It was a close fight all the way through. Exciting. 4 knockdowns in the fight in total. It had everything. But Anthony Joshua is the man. The Klitschko that he beat was a stellar Klitschko, and he deserves full credit. You know, he learned more during that fight than Joshua did his whole career. You know, Joshua really he became he grew in front of our own eyes. You know, baptism under fire, truly spectacular. And someday, you know, years from now, we're gonna look back at this fight, and it'll always be a historic moment in the heavyweight division. I think it truly is the beginning of the heavyweight division's comeback. Boxing fans have been excited about the heavyweight division, but now it's really gonna get rolling because Joshua, he's not gonna have any easy fights from here on out. And I mean, the possibilities of a Fury matchup with Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. These are really exciting fights. The future looks great. I don't know what else to say. I just want to give my take on how I scored this fight. And Anthony Joshua deserves his just due, period. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMABoxingTalk1. Peace.